Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I use MongoDB Compass for my charity auction project. So Compass is basically a visual tool for MongoDB. So instead of typing commands, you can click around and see your data. So I'll show you how to connect, browse the data, and then build an aggregation pipeline using a GUI. So let's get started. So the first thing I do is I open MongoDB Compass. So as you can see over here, this is the GUI when you open MongoDB Compass. You can see a button over here as add new connection. So if you just click on add new connections, it will ask me where my database is running. So since it is on my local machine, by default it will be mentioning the URI over here. So I'll just go on and click connect. Once it connects, you can see all my database listed on the left side. You can see my charity auction database, the movies database, transport database that was built previously. So right now we are working on charity database. So if I click on here, you can see my collection name as charity auction tracker. So this opens up the documents view. You can see all the 1000 documents previewed over here, and out of this one of 25 documents are mentioned over here. You can see columns like categories, auction year, media partner, number of loads, entry fee, and my embedded documents as promoter as well as auctioneer. So this is one of the things that makes MongoDB different from regular table-based database. Now let me click on the schema tab, which is showing on the top. So Compass automatically reads the collection and gives you a visual breakdown of every field. Once you click Analyze Schema, you can see the auction year, auction location, auction method, auction year, and everything. Where auction year is mentioned as a bar chart, preview from year 2018 to 2024. Also, we can see bidder activity, which is classified as fair, excellent, poor, and good. Also, here we can see the entry fee, which is mentioned as a histogram with the values less than 8, 8 to 10, and so on. So this is really useful because without writing a single query, I already understand the shape of my data, the range of values, the most common categories, the fields are arrays, and so on. So now let me go to my documents field and show you how to run a filter query in the Compass. At the top, you can see a filter bar. I'll type in the query here. This is the same query from my report. I'm looking for auctions from 2022 where the bidder activity is good and entry fee is greater than 40. So this, as you can see, which I typed previously. So if I type over here, we can the filter here requires auction year as 2022, the bidder activity good, and the entry fee as greater than 40. So if I click on find, and straight away the Compass filters the documents and show only the matching ones. The count at the top updates too. So this basically the same thing as running and finding a query in shell but done visually. So here 8 documents are mentioned where the auction year is 2022, the bidder activity is good, and the entry fee is greater than 40. So we can see 8 documents are being popped up over here. Now let's go to the important part of our demo, that is aggregation. Now I'll click on the aggregation tab at the top of the screen. This is where I build the pipeline. So instead of writing the whole thing out in one go like in the shell, Compass let me add one stage at a time and shows me a live preview of what stage I'm doing. So I can check at every step the things are working correctly before moving on. So I'm going to build 3 stages: unwind, grouping, and sorting. So stage 1 is unwind. So I'll click on add stage over here. A drop down appears over here to tell us which operator to mention. So here we'll be typing unwind. So before that, let me explain why I need unwind first. So the categories field in my documents is an array. So one document might have furniture, antiques, and clothing all in the same field. So if I try to group everything everything in one go, MongoDB would treat the whole array as one single value, which is wrong. So what unwind basically does is that it breaks the array into separate values. So if one document has 3 categories, unwind turns into 3 separate documents, one for each category. That way I can count each category on its own. So in the stage editor, I type categories. The codes I have to first I will delete all this. In the codes I will mention $of categories. So now look at the live preview on the right side of the screen. Before unmerge, each document had the values like array 3, array 1, etc. Now once I type unbind of categories, each category has its own, each document has its own category values, like category of sports equipment, category of clothing, category of auction, etc. Exactly what we wanted before the grouping stage. Now I'll add the second stage, that is grouping. So I'll click on add stage again, and this time I'll select group, and just like we did, we'll clear the entire thing and we'll type coach, where the ID will be mentioned as dollar of categories. It should be in quotes. So dollar of categories, comma, where the total auctions and the dollar of sum to we have to close the bracket. So let me explain what it means. The ID is what I'm grouping by. In this case, categories name. So all documents with furniture go into one group, all antiques into another, and so on. So the total auction over here part with the sum. What means every document lands in one group. Add 1 to the counter. So it basically counting how many documents are in each group. Now look at the preview. Instead of 1000 individual documents, we can see I'm seeing just 5 results. That is total auction furniture with a count of 508, clothing with 519, sports equipment with 540, and so on. Now the last stage is sort. I want to order the results so that category with the most auctions appear first. So I click on add stage. I'll type sort and remove all this, and we'll type total auction to -1. So -1 means descending order, the highest number first. Now the preview shows sports equipment with the highest value of 540, antiques with total auctions of 534, livestock with 522, clothing 519, and furniture 508. So this is the complete pipeline, 3 stages fully built in Compass. Now I'll click on the run button over here. This runs the full pipeline against all 1000 documents, not just the previous samples. So if I run, and the result panel shows all the 5 categories with their final counts. You can see at the top it says showing 1 out of 5 count results, which match exactly what I have in my report screenshots. So sports equipment with 540, antiques 534, livestock 522, clothing 519, and finally furniture 508. So to summarize, in this screencast I showed how to connect MongoDB using a compass, how to browse documents and understand the data through the schema tab, how to run filter query visually, and most importantly, how to build 3 stages aggregation pipeline step by step using the aggregation tab with live previews at every stage. So Compass makes it much easier to understand what each stage of your pipeline is doing, which is really helpful when you are building complex queries. Thank you for watching.